My colleague told me at a luncheon that he had a car standing on his property that had been there for a few years and that his son's girlfriend had inherited it, and the idea was that she would practice driving before getting her driver's license. This Saab had been standing on his property for at least 2.5 years, he told me. Now Kjell wanted the car gone, he was tired of it standing there taking up space. I have offered him to tow the car away free of charge if I have to hire a tow truck to do it. The reason I took on the project was that there was a B204E engine in the car. An engine that is known to withstand a lot of power. There is a Garrett T25 turbo mounted originally, a small, lightweight turbo that gives the power 154 horsepower. This was a chance to learn more about Saab turbo. Me and 2 other guys have already tried to move the car by hand by pushing it. It didn't work, the brakes are completely stuck.
Kind of mold here.
The interior smelled of mold and stale smoke. This is the first time I've turned the ignition on the car. It was dead, not so unexpected perhaps. Luckily, there was engine oil in the car. I tried to get into the tailgate by pressing this button first, nothing happened, maybe it was because the battery was dead. Then I tried to open it with the key, but couldn't figure it out then either, but I would turn out to get the tailgate open a little later. All the door locks seemed to be stuck. The key couldn't be turned at all. The locks had probably jammed when it was parked. There is no central locking remote control, so you had to leave the car unlocked to get in.
Wet here, this mat is wet, so it's leaking in water, and you can see it's been rusting. Hallelujah here. The brakes are totally locked.
Both the front and rear brakes looked miserable. The rust had really taken hold of the brake discs and brake pads.
Yeah, it was really stuck. I've been working on this for long, but finally it's loose.
Since the car battery only gave 0.7 volts, I decided to try to take the battery home and revive it. I have a few methods for that I think might solve or help to get the voltage up in the battery.
Yeah, we got full charge. So maybe this battery will work.
A very nice feature that I miss on my other car is this cruise control. I was really happy when I saw that there was a cruise control on this Saab. There was mold here and there in the car, probably rainwater had leaked in because the floor mats were wet in places. All of this created a humid environment where mold thrived. The car was really disgusting. I have reinstalled the charged battery, which now seems to provide enough power to start the car.
Okay, let's try it. Fan sounds. Yeah, it started. Now it's ticking quite bad. Yeah, it's ticking quite bad.
Now it was time to try to get the front brakes loose, which were stuck, but thanks to the engine I had to help, it should be possible.
So it did stall. Yeah, it's moving, but the brakes are on.
The bottom edge of the rear doors looked pretty okay. If you look at the mountings on the front doors, they also looked good, no major rust there, that's positive. However, the left driver's door looks to be dented or damaged, it's like a big crack at the top between the door and the body. Water probably leaks in there when it rains, because the floor mat was wet. That could mean there's rust under the mat. This rust hole by the driver's floor may not look serious, but it's usually much worse than it looks. It almost looks like it's coming from the inside, why else would it start to rust so much? Rusting like this is not good. This is probably the remark it received at the inspection a few years ago, that is in the papers.
Better turn this off. This still sounds, even though it's off. What's up with that?
There is something electrically wrong, something with the fan doesn't seem to turn off.
It's this one.
Maybe there are a few other things that don't turn off when you turn the key off.
What's that? What is this? I've turned off the ignition. It's still pulling high. Not good, not good. Why?
The latest generation Saab 900 and the Saab 9-3 tend to rust at the rear wheel arches. That's why I check the status of how bad the rust is at the rear. I look under the car and find rust, especially where there are plastic plugs. Probably moisture has gotten stuck between the plastic plugs and the body. Alternatively, moisture has come from inside the floor and the damp insulation that has been lying around has created rust from the inside. This is also a known problem on the first generations of Saab 9-3. You have to lift the insulation mat, that is, pull out the entire floor mat and insulation to see what it looks like from the inside. The seats probably need to be taken out of the car as well. After some troubleshooting, I get tired of looking for electrical problems, so I remove the grille and take a look behind it. Cobwebs and some other debris, but it doesn't look too bad. It seems that once I turn on the ignition, something is left drawing power and it's different from time to time. I'm just trying to find what's giving power to this fan or coffee maker as I call it, and I'm pulling fuse after fuse.
Still sounding. So when I pulled this one, it died. Let's see what that is.
Here I have filled up with Shell's V-Power, which is like 98 octane or E05 I think it is called, which has about 5% ethanol in it. So it is a slightly better quality of petrol. I have a hope that the engine might run a bit better now that it gets new petrol. Otherwise, I try to back the car up and it seems to be moving the car, so we are definitely making progress.
Now it's less ticking.
Here I have tried putting on the handbrake and releasing it again, and now the Saab seems to be going sluggishly again, especially when I steer in either direction. The brakes are definitely not good.
The lock is stuck.
Neither the driver's nor the passenger's side lock could be moved. They are completely stuck. I tried to lubricate them with a little oil. The next problem was the antenna mount. Unfortunately, someone has broken the antenna, and it seems that rainwater is leaking in there. This causes rust and wet trunk mats. I decide to remove the antenna and put tape there instead. Then came the day when I finally became the owner of this Saab. All the papers were now signed, and all that was left was to put the letter or the change of ownership in the mailbox. In the next episode, one will continue trying to get this car in order. I can now finally try to take it from the place. Stay tuned to the next episode 3 to follow, and see if I eventually manage to fix the rust and inspect the Saab. Now continues episode 3. It is with this scooter that I go to the Saab to tinker with it. It is a good way to transport a fair amount of stuff. This time I bring the bike rack with me to prepare to be able to cycle to the car and eventually pick up the Saab and take the bike with me in the back of the car. When I start it, smokes blue right at the start. There are also some strange noises. There is a bang in the exhaust pipe and some other noise makes itself felt. Listen again at a slow pace. The strange sounds are scaring me a little. Where are they coming from? I get out of the car to try to see if I can see anything strange, but I don't see anything obvious. So I decide to continue and try to drive out of the place in the car and hope for the best. Checking status of PCV system, positive crankcase ventilation. I have done some research on common problems on the Saab 9-3. Among other things, there can be problems with the PCV valve, which can cause overpressure and, among other things, oil leaks and other problems. Someone warns that it is very important to check this, so that is why I do this test. It gives a positive result. It sucks as it should.
Sucked down if I had bad luck. That looks good. So that means, I guess that means the PCV valve is okay. The rear wiper seems to be totally
The rear windshield wiper is also broken, unfortunately. The splines don't seem to engage the windshield wiper at all. I'll have to look at it later. The engine is revving, so I decide to take a slow drive around the block to activate the brakes a bit.
Not too bad now in the brakes. But you can hear it. Yeah, the test drive went well. The brakes are really bad, but they're getting better. They need to be worked a lot.
Well, it seems like the car is drivable anyway, so I'll continue with the next step. Removing the seats and floor mats to try to see how bad the rust is. Check out episode 3 in this series for more info on how to do this.
A sandbox. So we got a hole through there.
As always, the rust is much more widespread than you might first naively think. Here I start to clean off most of the rust to see what I have to work with. The idea is to spot weld pieces of sheet metal in place. It will be far from pretty, but the hope is that it will last a few years. Maybe it is possible, thanks to rust preventive paint and linseed oil. Using a heat gun to remove the bitumen mat is probably one of the most effective ways to remove the asphalt mat.
Holy macaroni, this is a lot of crap.
The cabin filter and air filter were overhauled. This fully synthetic gearbox oil from Biltema is not supposed to be aggressive towards so-called yellow metals such as brass. I believe that synchronizers can sometimes be made of brass. I am not sponsored in any way, but I use this oil because it seems affordable. If the gearbox breaks down, I promise to make a video about it. Now I've sprayed rust inhibitor on some exposed areas and also changed the transmission oil, so it's time to roll the car down the ramps. Something is screaming and howling as I drive down the ramp. I don't know what it is. If you remember from previous episodes, there are still power thieves, so I disconnect the battery when the car is going to be parked for a while. I will continue troubleshooting the electrical fault at a later time.
I cleaned up the surface around it and made sort of template when it's pressed down. If I can manage to do this, would be interesting to see. Maybe I'll just do an overlap and weld it with the spot welding. So first cut is way too big, but then I'm gonna hammer it down here and pick up that side. Doing templates on this side too, sort of like this, and hopefully I can make something like the metal sheet that looks like this. And then here, and then maybe spot weld, drill some holes and spot weld where the metal is clean, and then I'll do rust protection and so on. Maybe cut away a bit before I start and paint it. Yeah, rust protection will save it a lot. Here I'm cutting the one under the chair, left side. I'll try to bend this piece up. So I'm no metal worker, but the plan is I'm gonna make a sort of a U shape for the floor. So I'm gonna try this method. I've just clamped two pieces here together and just gonna start bending and see what happens, if I can do it. Then I'm gonna bend back sort of like this after we get this. I'm just about strong enough. believe that becomes a U, something like that. And then I'll take a new grip and bend this side, and we'll see how it fits. I've been hammering away here, making this just basically. First I did bend it, but it didn't fit very well, so I started banging on it, and it seems to work pretty good. And then use this as a on the edges and so on. And here we have the other one. It's pretty nice also. So maybe I will drill some holes here and spot weld it, or otherwise I might cut it down a bit and weld it on top, overlap, I think they say. Here's another one, simple one, just bend it, clean up around the edges. If I haven't said it, I removed the asphalt carpet with a heat gun. Watch out for fuel lines, and don't heat it too much. Taking a look at the rear again here in the trunk or whatever you say. I thought it wasn't so much rust, but I've been hacking around here and you can see all these chunks, but it's not gone through yet, so this is a nick of time. Maybe we'll have to do this, patch holes here in a couple of years, but I'm gonna put some linseed oil on it, and you can see here this, it's almost through, but yeah. So I'm gonna clean this up and put some linseed oil on it to try to stop as much as you can the rust, of course. Unfortunately I pushed through here, so this is, if I start hacking here, it's gonna be bigger. Might have to patch here in the back too then. This is probably like this. This is okay. Yeah, it's just this patch. Probably if I hit it hard enough here also might go through. Just gets more and more holes, so I'm not gonna poke anymore. Maybe I fix this 3 here, do a butt weld, and it's probably here too if I hack around, but I'm just gonna leave it for next year or something and spray some linseed oil on it. Just try to stop it a bit. The other one we'll leave for now. So we're next day. I decided to clean it up a bit instead, see where the rust stops. So I've grounded this down with this type. Works really good on a drill. And then I've made some templates here for the steel plates. So I don't know yet if I will butt weld this or do some kind of seam weld or whatever you call it. This one goes here like that. So when I did the templates, then I go to the sheet metal and cut out pieces with a jigsaw, and then I've bent it according to the slopes here, so I got a pretty nice fit here, something like this. So I think that will work. Just prepare. I don't think the motor will say anything about this hole. It's not big enough, and this I think it's okay. But anyway, I'm preparing. If I get an opportunity to do it, then I will do it. Otherwise we'll wait. To get that extra good feel, I just hammer. Pum, 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 pum. I don't even have to use a holder underneath. just smaller, but then I bend it with help with this simple tools. I do it this way, the simple way. I'm no smed, bilplåtslagare. I don't know what they call it in English. I'm just doing the simple way, the best of my knowledge. Spare tire should be 60 psi or 420 kPa. We got psi here 60, but I already know it was totally empty when I got it. Now it's like 20, should be 60, so I will pump it up. Should be getting closer. 56.5, yeah, that's good enough. Couple of stroke more and we're fine. Progress is that I've drilled with 6mm drill, and now I've sanded it with 120 sandpaper, and I cleaned it up with acetone, chemically clean, this one. So next step is I'm gonna put some linseed oil on it, boiled linseed oil, on the surface where I'm not gonna weld. So I just put in the middle and so on, maybe here, leave the holes so they are still clean. You can see the grinding marks, the sandpaper. Yeah, I don't have to show you when I apply linseed oil. And here we are. It's been linseed oil. Give it time to dry. Maybe I preheat it, get it faster done. And then I'll put some rust color, rust protection color. Today I'm taking a look at the front here, how bad it is. Gonna try to steel brush everything away and put some rust protection and so on. Just check that everything is okay, the damask, and just gonna clean it up a bit. It's pretty rusty. Looks like it's pretty thin. I'm gonna measure, should be minimum 22, something like that, so maybe it's time to replace them. We'll see. Also gonna remove the inner fender here, the inner liner, whatever you say. I've already removed the plastic screws here, so then I'm gonna push this in. And yeah, it's a lot of noise today. Of course, everyone comes when I'm filming. They always are interesting. Can't leave me alone. Yeah, I'm gonna remove it, clean it up a bit, and put some linseed oil on it at first, and see how much rust is behind the inner liner here, fender. See if this is broken. Put some cardboard here so I don't mess it up too much. Just as used to. Should be wearing some kind of mask. So the fender is gone. It wasn't that hard. It was just these clips, you know, you push, you use a punch driver like this and hit it in where this is, and then you push it through, and then it will come loose. So it doesn't look too bad, but this is a known place where the battery is. We're right, I think the battery is right here. So this is savable yet, but it's about time, you know. Otherwise, up here is also known the rust. Doesn't look too bad, but it's starting to come there too. Nothing too bad. So yeah, gonna continue cleaning here, and here we have the crap behind the. Yeah, feels good to clean everything, all the junk out. Wonder what this is. Looks like some kind of speaker, but see all this spider web. That was what was making electric problems. I've cleaned the worst off. Looks better now a bit. So I'm gonna start putting some linseed oil on this. It will do. You don't have to make it perfect. Just scratched off the worst of the rust. So starting to look clean here and there, and I've oiled the bolts. This will thank you. I will thank myself later if I need to remove them. Sort of like this, oil them up. So now I'm gonna get a plastic bag and put over here, and then start pushing on linseed oil. Covered it with plastic so I don't get anything on the discs, and just start spraying. This is no fun for you to watch, so I'm gonna do it myself. Linseed oil is applied. This feels really good. I will let this dry for a couple of days, and then or maybe layer more, and then put some textile on this, some BTM based. Now we're stopping it up pretty much. This feels really good. I'm measuring the disc. It says 19 millimeter, so that's a bit small. So I think 22 is minimum. So we'll see what the note says. Time to remove the fender. It's starting to come. It's still stuck here. Yeah, I need both hands, but this doesn't look too good. No, this doesn't look good. La 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 la. Yeah. Oop, 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 oop. No bueno, no bueno. At least we got fresh one here we can weld into. This looks good. Yeah. Whew. Never ends. Yeah, I'm gonna start linseed oil in it. I'm getting tired. Cleaned up a bit, and I'm just gonna apply it and go from there. I'm tired. Sometimes you have to call it a day. And my legs are, I've been sitting on my knees for the whole day now, so it takes time cleaning this crap. Here in the front looks good. This is solid. That's nice. Yeah, should be pretty easy to make a panel like this.
When I brought this Saab, I probably didn't really think it would be this much work, but now we're here. Now we just have to keep fighting. The car works reasonably well, at least. I've still come quite a long way. Now the next problem is finding a place where I can weld these pieces of sheet metal I made, and I'll probably need to get a welder. I don't have a good place where I can weld, so I'm trying to find someone in my circle of friends who can lend me some power and where I can be outside and weld, and partly learn how to weld too. I've only welded a little bit on a Toyota Previa. There should be a video of it if you search my videos. Now I'm going to weld outside in the wind, which is more difficult. The project continues in the next episode.